Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to another Operate First Data Science Community Meetup. Today, we have Audrey, who's a senior principal software engineer in the Red Hat OpenShift data science team, and she's going to tell us a little about the tale of two data science platforms, ODH and Rhodes. So, over to you, Audrey.
Okay, thanks a lot, everybody. Just yell at me if you can't hear me for some reason. I tend to go off and not pay attention to any chats, anything like that. So a tale of two data science platforms. I guess I named this presentation this because right now within Red Hat, when we talk about data science platforms, the majority of folks will start thinking about ODH or Open Datahub or Rhodes, which is Red Hat OpenShift Data Science. And I know that for the data scientists out there and then folks supporting data scientists, it's kind of which platform do you use? So what I kind of like to do with this presentation is kind of give you a good overview on both platforms, and then we can kind of discuss towards the end which platform you'd use kind of for which situation. The thing to remember is both platforms are relevant, both platforms are being supported. Okay, so with that, let me just jump in. There are a number of points that I hope to hit within this presentation. So first of all, we'll just kind of give everybody a level up in terms of what is an intelligent application. And then we will take a look at the personas involved in developing an intelligent application. We'll take a look at ODH. We'll discuss where you can find it, talk about its end-to-end AI ML platform, and touch on its tools and components. For Rhodes, we'll again discuss what Rhodes is, then we'll shift into discussing the Red Hat Managed Cloud Platform. We'll be looking at Red Hat Managed Cloud Services, and then we'll look at ISV Managed Cloud Services and Customer Managed ISV Software. If you don't know what ISV is, it's just an independent service vendor. And then we'll touch on at the very end with the Red Hat partner ecosystem and kind of discuss how all of this ties in with everything that we kind of support at Red Hat and our partners. Okay, so let's go look at intelligent applications. The whole reason we have ODH and the reason that we have Rhodes is really this need for the outside industry to need intelligent applications. That being having some sort of application that our users can interact with, or maybe it might be some sort of job that's done in the back that uses some combination of AI ML models or algorithms in order to get some sort of business decision for your customers or your users. When you take a look at an intelligent application, too many people kind of dive right in on the model aspect, and that's not a good way to look at it, because your intelligent application really just isn't just that one small model or algorithm. You're looking at the entire ecosystem that supports it. So you're looking at things all the way from data ingestion, data verification, collection, to looking at the analysis tools that you have, serving infrastructure, feature extraction, basically everything that you need to do to create that intelligent application. Now, when you start building that model as a data scientist, that doesn't preclude you from, again, not taking all of these things into account. You really have to, because you have to know how to connect to a data source, obtain and curate the data. You have to know how to work with your app developer or ML ops developers and IT operations in terms of how your model is going to be trained and deploy. So with that, with talking right away with the different types of personas that you kind of hit when you're looking at this distributed system, let's go and take a look at those in some depth, because that will help you understand kind of the services that you need for both of these platforms. I shamelessly stole this slide from David Marcus's team. If you haven't heard of the North American Tiger team for data science, David Marcus is in charge of that team. And I'm going to kind of put a a little plug out there so that if you are working with customers and you do need some help in terms of their data science needs, from kind of putting together the model, which tools you should use, all the way to deploying and monitoring that model, reach out to David and his team. So when we look at kind of the model life cycle, or you can think of this as ML operations, there are a number of personas or people involved. And that makes the entire process highly collaborative. And it's also very iterative. So you need to have really a good set of people or a team that you work with. So when we look at kind of the scoping and objective, that is going to be your business leadership. And your business leadership is going to give you your direction. Once they have given you your direction, it does fall on the data engineer to become involved and start looking at the data ingestion, cleansing, analysis, any transformation that the data may need, and validation. The data engineer will work fairly closely with the data scientist to make sure that that data is exactly what they're expecting. And in return, the data scientist is going to be looking at training and developing, training, and eventually deploying a model. So they're going to take into account any of the training optimization, any of the feature engineering that is necessary to create that model. And when they're ready to go ahead and deploy that, they are going to work very closely with their app developer, might be an ML ops engineer. So they want to make sure that all the things that the piping that is in place for that model is there. So if there's any data pre-processing, any inferencing, any deployment patterns that need to be available, the app developer will take care of that. But again, the data scientist is going to look into that as well. And then finally, when we're deploying everything, we need to basically monitor the model, make sure that the model is not drifting. I guess most importantly, we have to make sure that the model is giving us the correct answer. And if it's not, and we see some drift or some shift, things that we can't explain, we can go back at that point in time and go as far back as the data or the training to make sure that the model is done correctly to specifications. The whole idea of the slide and the why that I'm spending a significant amount of time is it is a team effort. So everybody does need to get involved. You can't ignore any of the personas that are there. And just to give some clarification, sometimes an organization may not have all of these people. Maybe that data scientist, maybe the data engineer as well. So just keep in mind that you do have all of these different model lifecycle steps or ML ops steps that need to be taken. And there are different people that need to do those steps. And each step requires a different type of software or process to make sure that it is working so that you can end up with your goal of creating a model. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look at Open DataHub. Again, another slide that I shamelessly stole from David's team because I really liked the overview on this. Open DataHub is kind of, I would say, Red Hat's first foray into basically building a data science platform. But foremost, it was really an open source project that was driven and is still driven by the open source community. We do have a lot of people internally. Sherrod Griffin's team, in fact, is in charge of the Open DataHub project. And what they try to strive for is to make sure that it still has that collection of tools and components that are going to make up an end-to-end AI ML platform. But specifically, this platform is going to be on OpenShift. And it really is a good mix of capabilities that are going to help your customer go through that model lifecycle with the open source community service or software application of choice to hit those sweet spots in the data model life or in the model lifecycle of data engineering, creating your model for data science, going ahead and integrating within your model with app development, and then going ahead and deploying your model. Let's go and take a look at a closer AI ML workflow for ODH. And within the workflow, you're going to see that it looks very similar to the slide that I put up before with the personas, just a different look and feel. So again, the data engineer is going to be concerned with the data storage, the data ingestion and transformation. That is going to be then passed over, the data being passed over the data scientist, who again is going to be doing some data analysis. And this data analysis will go back and forth actually with the data engineer as well. That will lead to some model building, training, and then model validation and optimization. When that data scientist is basically done with that phase, the last phase is going to be for moving and serving the model in production. And again, in this phase, this is not static. You have constant optimization because we want to make sure that our model is giving the best results or best answers for our customers and our users. So this whole cycle of kind of monitoring, optimization, and serving is very consistent, and that's going to go for the lifetime of the model. And again, we're going to have that collaboration between any of our app developers and in our ML ops, our data scientists, data engineers, and our business developers. So Open Datahub from a few years ago in creating this workflow or this diagram, I would have to say was kind of ahead of the game in terms of really realizing what was very necessary to deliver an intelligent application into the actual I don't want to say community, but into the industry where people could take up these steps, and not only within these steps, but actually within each of these portions, find a series of open source software or services that could help them accomplish that. So if we look at data analysis, if somebody is wondering, in data analysis, what kind of tools are available? Well, the storage could be Ceph storage. If you had streaming data, you may use Apache Kafka. Data exploration, you could probably use Superset, very close to Tableau. Big data processing, I know Spark has been a contentious issue for everybody here. We do have some other options. The slide is a little bit older. But know that we have a lot of options for data analysis that go between the data engineer and the business analyst. When we go into artificial intelligence and machine learning, we are going to look at the interactive notebooks. So Jupyter has been a big part of ODH, and as well as being able to use PyTorch or TensorFlow for any of your distributed model training and tuning, and ML applications. Again, we're looking at the Open DataHub AI library. And then we go into the pipelining to help deliver this model. Argo has been popular right now, both within ODH and Rhodes. Kubeflow is looking as one of the most popular ways that people are going to be doing that pipelining. And then in production for the model serving, TF serving being very popular, as well as Selden. Monitoring can be done through Grafana and Prometheus. And again, that pipelining being present within production, again, anywhere from Argo, Airflow to Kubeflow. The most important part, though, is that Open Datahub will sit on Red Hat OpenShift. And this can be an on-prem solution. This could be a solution that could be hybrid in nature as well. So where do you actually find Open Datahub? Well, it is an operator that is installed from OpenShift Operator Hub, and it has the advantage, since it's going to provide kind of a very easy to install method, and it's going to come with all of the operator level features that you would expect, such as auto upgrades, metrics gathering, and so forth. Now, what does ODH look like? Well, the screen capture that we have right here just kind of shows an example of somebody that has enabled a number of AI tools for their use. So in this instance, they're using JupyterHub, most likely to go ahead and create some of their Python coding. They're using Prometheus for systems monitoring, and then to visualize their model, they may be using Grafana for the visualization and analytics capabilities. Now, the thing that makes ODH, of course, is the ecosystem that we have around Open Datahub. We have things from our Red Hat product integration. So we're going to provide tools for very tight integration with Red Hat products, such as Red Hat OpenShift, Ceph Storage, OpenShift Service Mesh. And from there, we can also get our Red Hat consultants involved. So as part of the ecosystem, there is a team that's dedicated for AI ML consulting services to help the customer succeed in their kind of digital transformation stories and kind of accelerate the development and the time that they take to deploy something to market. And with all of the partners that we have, whether it's from Selden to NVIDIA or Anaconda, we have what are called Red Hat certified partners. So we work closely with third-party vendors to get these partners certified to use UBI images and any of the certified operators. And that allows the partners to become certified so that they can provide support for their tools when those tools are integrated with Open Datahub. So again, one of the tools might be Anaconda or Selden. And what we also try to do is to showcase these industry use cases. So we want to showcase any of the integrations that we build using, again, Open Datahub with Red Hat products such as fraud detection and Open Datahub and Red Hat Decision Manager. Now, Open Datahub actually really is the precursor to Red Hat OpenShift Data Science. This was kind of the on-prem solution. And really, we didn't go ahead and support the services that were provided by our partners in terms of we weren't there giving 24/7 support. It was up to the individual or company with whatever services they plan to use. We did, however, go ahead and support the Red Hat OpenShift platform. So the decision was made, let's see if we can take what we've learned from Open Datahub and be able to create a service, or I should say a managed cloud service that we could put on the infrastructure of AWS or say Google or Azure. Those things are actually coming right now. Red Hat OpenShift Data Science is built on the AWS cloud infrastructure. So with Red Hat OpenShift, the decision was made to make it a managed cloud service. And again, the same idea to hit all of those different personas that we were talking about and give them the ability to use this AI ML platform, again, to collaborate and quickly move from gathering and preparing data to developing the model, all the way to model monitoring and management. And again, those different personas with the data engineers, the data scientists, and the developers, all the way from gathering and preparing the data to the data scientists developing the model, all the way to ML ops and IT operations being able to deploy the model into production, are all the same ideas for ODH, except with the idea that we would support this managed service, and along with this supported managed service, we would go ahead and tie in some of our own services. And of course, this here, the dotted box here, kind of illustrates our Red Hat OpenShift Data Science, where we kind of tightly integrated TensorFlow, Jupyter Notebooks, and PyTorch, but with the ability to allow our customers to be able to pick any of our independent service vendor managed services or software that are available in each step of the model lifecycle. So again, if I have this infrastructure on AWS, I could go ahead and use, say, NVIDIA GPUs to help me go through my data very quickly to crunch through a lot of numbers. But if I didn't have the money for NVIDIA GPUs, I might be able to use something like Intel OpenVINO, which is an optimizer, which could help me optimize my code and maybe even quantize it so that I can get that performance for my code, but not use a GPU. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not a replacement for a GPU, but this is kind of giving the customer choice in terms of how much money they want to spend and what services they want. Now, likewise, if I didn't want to use Red Hat OpenShift streams for Apache Kafka for time series data, I may have other customer managed software or services that I could use to help me pull my data into the system. The whole, I would say, premises of this, though, is really to enable that rapid experimentation and that model deployment or development on OpenShift. And again, with that idea that you're having all of these personas together within a platform that can collaborate very quickly and be able to deliver something to their customers. So let's just go ahead and take a look at how we build up this platform. As I managed with this Red Hat Managed Cloud Platform, we're keeping the model lifecycle steps, or you may think of them as ML ops steps. And at the very bottom, we start building this platform by adding in kind of a self-service open hybrid cloud platform so that this platform could be put on top of Red Hat OpenShift Dedicated, or you could use Red Hat OpenShift Service on Amazon Web Services, known as ROSA. You could add accelerators, whether it's from Intel CPUs or NVIDIA GPUs. And once you have that hybrid platform, what you can do is then add in any of the Red Hat Managed Cloud Services. Again, I mentioned Red Hat OpenShift Data Science. That is an independent kind of little offering that comes bundled with TensorFlow images, PyTorch images, and a number of standard data science images that can be used to spin up an ephemeral Jupyter notebook where data scientists can do their work. Deployment can happen through source to image. Later on, you may choose, let me just go through here, to use something such as OpenVINO. We no longer have Selden as a source to, or as a way of deploying, because we were not able to have them to keep up with the various versions of OpenShift that we were running through. However, they're still available on ODH. Okay, there's no reason not to use them if you're working with ODH. Though with Rhodes, it's a little more difficult. In the future, source to image will not be the only way that you're deploying your models. Again, OpenVINO has a way that you can deploy models, but again, we're looking to Kubefluo to provide that service. Again, we end up pulling in our ISV managed cloud services. So at this point, we have Starburst Galaxy, comes bundled with Trino, and then Anaconda Commercial Edition. So you're going to have some prepackaged libraries and different packages that you can use for your various data science models that you're going to be building, or algorithms. And for the customer managed ISV software, you are going to have things like Pachyderm for helping to curate some of the data. You can use Intel One API AI Analytics Toolkit that comes with predefined models that you can use to satisfy the problem that you're trying to solve, or at least get you started on another algorithm that can help propel you further. We can also have IBM Watson to help develop the model. And again, for integrating models and application development, again, that ability to optimize our models before we put them into production and to actually quantize them, again, you can use something like Intel OpenVINO. So again, the work doesn't stop once you've created your model. Again, you want to go into model monitoring and management. You have the ability to retrain models. And with you continuously monitoring and managing your ML models in production and making sure that they're making the right choices, you may decide to switch out, you know, what you may be using for preparing your data. You may switch out with the way that you want to deploy your models. And I'd have to say that's where, for Red Hat's partner ecosystem, that's our biggest strength. And it's that strength that's been baked into both of these platforms, whether it's ODH, for the most part being on-prem, or for Rhodes that is offered as a service in the public cloud. All of these partners or services are what really make these two products work. So again, ranging from software specific to AI modeling and lifecycle, governance, database, data ingestion, being able to have that ecosystem makes both of these products very powerful for our users to consume and use. And that strength, I have not seen that strength elsewhere in a lot of the public cloud offerings that I'm seeing. So I feel actually pretty good about all of the partners that we work with, because it gives our customers so much choice. And with that, I'm going to stop this presentation at now, because I think I only had 30 minutes, but to kind of drive home the point that, again, both ODH and Rhodes are two different data science platforms that we have available. They still back that premises of that Red Hat OpenShift partner ecosystem, which makes them both very powerful, whether you're going to try to do something on-prem or do something within the cloud. And really how you choose them is going to really depend on I would say the most part, the data gravity that you have for your customer or user. If your customer's data and all the things that they're doing with the data and the decisions are in the cloud, more than likely you'll gravitate towards Rhodes. If all of their data gravity reduces them to being on-prem solely, then you're more than likely going to be looking at an ODH type of solution. But again, there's a lot of wiggle room. I mean, you can actually develop models in the cloud using Rhodes, but then take those models and use them on-prem, and kind of vice versa with ODH. I mean, if you had a hybrid cloud situation where you did have some models that were that you were sharing with different partners in a hybrid cloud scenario, you could very well go ahead and develop something on-prem and then share it in a hybrid cloud situation. We've given ourselves actually a lot of choice on how we can deliver data science solutions to our customers. I would say that if you have not tried out Rhodes, we do have a public sandbox that you can go and check out, or you can look at what we have internally in an internal sandbox. For questions on Rhodes, you can definitely reach out to Stephen Hills and his team. And for questions on ODH, you can definitely go ahead and reach out to Sherrard Griffin and his team. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop it there and see if we have any questions. Y'all are just drinking the Kool-Aid this morning, right? No.
Thank you, Audrey, for this great presentation. If anyone has questions, this would be the best time to ask.
And if you're too shy, you can just reach out to me via email or chat. I don't bite, contrary to popular belief.
I do have one question concerning Selden for roads.
Yes.
I mean, source to eye, it's the way for now to build this. But I mean, nobody. Although you said it's not, Selden is not going to be included in roads going forward. But nobody prevents us from actually creating a Docker file, that you use from GitHub, and that uses deployment of Selden, directly into that UBI image, right? Just
nobody is preventing you. It's just that Selden itself, for the current version of roads, they're not keeping with the OpenShift versions. So for the very current version of roads, if you try to use Selden, it may not work. What we found is you'd have to work with them. But again, that's up to you and how much work you want to do, right?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I will just mention that there is the ODH community out there that you can internally join their Google chat, and as well you can also join kind of a roads Google chat community. If you want to know what those are, you can reach out to me or Akanshka and we'll help you out. And again, if you have questions now or in the future, just ask them. And Michael, you have a question.
Yeah, if somebody here wanted to try out using Open Datahub or roads, but more specifically Open Datahub, is there a good place where they can go and kind of get started?
Yeah, so for roads, I would say right now go to either of the two links that I'm showing there. There is the public facing sandbox, but internally for Red Hat, I would encourage you to go to Red Hat Roads Internal to take a look at what the roads platform looks like. You can go ahead and work with it. For ODH, there is some links that I'm sorry that I didn't put in here for the ODH community, where again, you can get some steps on how to work with ODH internally within Red Hat.
Thanks.
Okay, don't feel intimidated by reaching out to anybody. Again, Sherrod Griffin's team is for ODH, Stephen Hill's team is for roads. I work with both teams. You can definitely go ahead and ask me questions, reach out to me. And again, remember, if you have customers or users that are looking to further their experience in ML ops, please go ahead and reach out to David Marcus and his team. And Jonathan, thank you so much for listing the ODH GitHub. I did not have that handy, so thank you for pasting that within the chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Audrey, again for presenting in our meetup. And thank you, everyone, for attending this meetup, and hope to see you all again in 2 weeks. Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.